Good morning, good evening, whatever it is to you. Thank you so much once again for coming to BK Finance. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for visiting my channel where we talk about all things personal finance. So let's just get right into it today. My name is Bruck and I love to talk all things personal finance. Now, So yesterday I was at the gym and I was playing basketball, which I love to do. And I was sitting down with a young fellow, and I don't know, he was a great basketball player. So we're talking. Somehow we got to investing. Oh, it was because we were both in the same program growing up. Me about 35 years earlier, but he's in that program now. And so he's like, so we started talking, and he goes, yeah, and they started teaching me about investings. And so what the program is both of us were in a program that sent inner city kids to the suburbs to go to school. So I was in that program for 12 years and I graduated from a suburban high school. And this young black fellow is right now going to, he's in the same situation, a different community than I went to, but in where he's being bused to the suburbs to go to school. So he starts talking to me about how they're teaching him out there about personal finance and just mentioning things. And I'm like, wow, that's great. And he's like, I would never have known this had I'd not gone there. He goes, it was like a different world to me. He goes, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. When I first walked, I just thought, you know what? I'm about to blow your mind. You know what he said to me? And this is why this channel, I wanted to explode. You want to know why? Because he goes, oh yeah, you know, before I ever went out there and was taught anything about anything other than kind of like my life, I just thought that my way out of the inner city was through basketball or rapping, going into hip hop. And unfortunately, I see this a lot of times when I'm talking to my students in my class. I am a teacher, and so we talk, and sometimes, you know, just icebreaker, I want to know what you want to do. And all the boys want to be great basketball players, which is fine. I love basketball, I love playing it, but it was never going to be my way out of the inner city, ever. Okay, or rapping. And in fact, and I never dissuade my students or discourage my students from actually wanting to do that. I just say, hey, maybe we can have a plan B other than that. Okay, so maybe just at the off chance that you're not the next Giannis or LeBron or whomever, that you have a plan. Maybe you can be a scientist. Maybe you can be an engineer. Maybe you can be an incredible investor who actually buys up properties and has incredible cash flow and does that. Wow, that's a novel idea, isn't it? Okay, so he was telling me and I was blown away. And I know that this goes on, and this is a pervasive mindset that people think that they can't get out of their situation because the only thing that they're seeing is basketball players and rappers who are looking like them, who they see as a success, who are on that level. Okay, so it's incredible that we were having this conversation, and I started telling them everything I know. And I was telling them everything that he should be doing. He's 17 years old. If you're out there, Jonathan, and I know that you were going to subscribe to the channel, I'm looking out for you, young man. I really am, and definitely keep it up. Okay, and I told Jonathan, I said, Jonathan, I am going to, he's going to come to my, he's going to come to my, I'm starting an investment class at my high school that we're going to be doing an investment club after school. He's coming to that. He didn't even go to my school, but he's coming because you know what? I just am so tired of people thinking that there's no way out of the hood, if you will, other than these other. Now, it's not all, but unfortunately, a lot of people see that this is the only way out. It is not the only way out. It is absolutely not the only way out. In fact, it's the way out that's going to, it's the way that is the least likely to get you out. Okay, so that is why this whole channel is going on for young men like Jonathan. I also met with one of my relatives a week ago, and we were going over his finances, and I was just like, how did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get here? How do you have nothing? I don't mean that in any pejorative way, but you're this age, and why? You want to know, well, there's several reasons why, but a lot of reasons is, you know what, this stuff is just not taught in school. It's just not in because only certain segments of the population know. That ends with my channel. Tell your friends about me. Tell your people about me because I'm coming, because I want to educate not the people out there. There is plenty of people out there who know this stuff, but not enough where I come from. Okay, and that's my whole point of this is, you know what, we need to know about this. We need to know that, you know what, I can invest. I told Jonathan, I said, listen, you are 17 years old. The world is your oyster. It is your oyster. You are 17. I gave him a challenge that he needed to own 3 houses by the time he was 25, I believe it was. And he said, well, and he wants it. He's like, you know what? And he said, you know what? I'm not even thinking, and he's a great basketball player. I'm like, man, he's a great, but he's 17 or whatever. He's better at 17 than I was, I can tell you that. All right? And so he's like, I want it. He said, you know what he said? You know what he said? This is what he said. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, okay. He said, you know what I want to do? He saw his mother get up at 5 a.m. every morning and work hard. And what a great mother, okay, and that's incredible. He said, I don't want to do that. He said, I love my money. He said he wants to buy his mother a house. He said he doesn't want to live that lifestyle. He wants to travel. He wants to work, and he wants to have, you know what he wants? And we kind of identified this yesterday. He wants financial freedom. That's what he wants. He wants to be able to do what he wants to do. He doesn't want to be bogged down to a desk. He doesn't want to just get in a grind or the rat race. That's not what he wants to do. What he wants to do is and I told him, and I gave him 3 books he needed to read. I told him 3 books. I said, you need to read all 3 of these books. I've read them all. I said, 1, you need to read The Richest Man in Babylon. You know how I feel about that if you watched my last video, and I'm about to get into something about that right now. The Richest Man in Babylon, you need to read that. I said that the 2nd book you need to read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Because I said, you know what? I learned this a long time ago. The rich don't work for a paycheck. What? Yeah, the rich don't work for a paycheck. They don't do that. The rich have assets who pay them. They acquire assets. That's the entire premise of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In fact, he goes through the whole book. We got Robert Kiyosaki. I love him. He goes through the entire book. I couldn't believe I read this book probably 98, something like that, 99. I read this book, and at that time, I started buying properties. Around actually a couple years later, my wife and I started buying up real estate. I said, okay, you know what? He's right. I'm grinding. I'm struggling. Well, no, I need to buy something else that's going to help me. My time is limited, so therefore I need other things that are going to work as hard as I do. But we'll get to that in a little while when we talk about different assets that we need to get into, okay? But that's what he wants to do. And the 3rd book I told him to read was The Millionaire Next Door. Woo! And this is going to segue into the next part of my video right now, is The Millionaire Next Door. You know what The Millionaire Next Door is about? Most millionaires are like the guy next door, the person next door, that you don't even know that they're a millionaire. Wow. Because they don't flaunt it. Most millionaires don't flaunt their wealth. Okay, actually, you know what's interesting? Is Jonathan and I were discussing, because we were both black kids who are being bussed out to white suburban communities that are richer than where we came from. And you know what I saw and I noticed on my bus growing up? Is we all have better clothes than they had out there in the communities that we went to, and they were richer than us. He said to me, this is what he said to me. He goes to a very rich, affluent community, and they said to him that there are kids out there who have who have wealthy families. They said to him, "Wow, you guys oh, you guys are really rich because you guys all come out with Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all these brand names. Okay, he said that. And, he said, and he actually, Jonathan was the one that said, yeah, see, there's an image that they try to push off like they have money, but they don't. Millionaires usually don't do that. Okay, you have, people who want to, show off their money or whatever and have all the nice cars and all that. But you'd be amazed at the person next door who has some money. They have some money. They have money and you don't even know about it, right? They drive a Honda or they drive a Camry or something like that, a very modest car, but yet they have a $4 million portfolio that they've been putting together for the last 25 years, right? But the people here who actually, a lot of people from where I'm from have nothing, but yet they have a Range Rover. They have nothing. So this is getting into my first point today, my first and last point today that I'm going to get into in my lesson is, and remember, I've been going over, I Love the Richest Man from Babylon, and I will be sharing from that book a lot. And I recommend that you go out and get it. I'm not getting a dime from them. Like I said before, I hope that they give me some money one day and say, you've been promoting this book so much that we're going to break you off a little something because you're advertising for us. But that's okay. Until then, I think the book is that great and you ought to get into it. So the first thing, and remember, the first thing that I went over all 7 in my last video. But this time, I'm just going to focus on the first one, okay? I'm just going to focus on the first one. And the first one is start thy purse to fattening, okay? If you remember, you should save at least 10% of your earned income. You should save at least 10% of your earned income. For every 10 coins thou placest within thy purse, take out for use but 9. Living, you know what this is called? This is called living below your means. Okay? So if you make $100,000 a year, then you need to live off 90. If you make $200,000 a year, then you need to live off of 180. Okay? You need to live below your means. That is the number one thing. You cannot live above your means. If you make $100,000 and you are living on $110,000, that's called debt. That's called debt. You must get your house in order, your financial house in order, and start living below your means. Because when you start living below your means, then the 10% or the 20% that you are not living on, then you can do something with that to get yourself together. Okay? But if you're always just up against it, that's, what it's called? It's called paycheck to paycheck, to paycheck, to paycheck, to paycheck. You got to get out of that. It's just what it is. You have to get out of that. Now, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to do it. You have to figure it out. How much are you saving? Honestly, just to be honest with you, I'm crazy. And my wife's like, oh my goodness. But like I'm not boasting here. Now, I have some things going for me in terms of I have an income property. We have multiple, income coming in. My wife works a second. We have a lot of things going on, okay? But I save probably 30% of mine. And then I have my wife saving at least 15%. Just into vehicles, we're probably living, if I actually cut out I'm putting into different things, then we could live a lot better. My wife and I, we really could, because we'd be bringing in a lot more money home, right? We really would. But you know what? I have to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice what you want. For what you want, you got to sacrifice. You got to do something. So therefore, I live on less than so that I can live better. Dave Ramsey, who I really like and respect, has this saying. He says, live like no one else so you can ultimately live like no one else. Woo, that's good stuff there. That's good stuff. That's good stuff there, baby. And I'm quoting him, okay? That's good stuff. You got to live like somebody else. Stop trying to live like the Joneses. You're the Joneses. Let them live like you. Forget that and trying to live up to somebody else's stuff. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any kind of sense. I'll just be honest. That doesn't make any kind of sense. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. Okay? So you got to live below your means. So in order to do this, what do you got to do? You got to budget. You got to see where your money's going. You know, if you've watched any of my videos, I've mentioned a budget every single time I've talked to you. Every single time. You got to know where every dollar goes. So therefore, if you know where every dollar goes, then you are able to then see, okay, you know what? I don't really need the subscriptions. I don't need them. Cancel them, right? I need to get out of that debt. I need to, oh man, I'm paying that credit card. I can pay that thing off, but that's ridiculous. I can't afford it anyway. I was like, why do I have credit card debt? You got credit card debt because you buying stuff that you can't afford. And sometimes you just got to say, I can't afford it right now. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll be patient and save up for it. But I'm not going to put on a credit card. The only time you should be using a credit card is if you could pay it off at the end of the month 100%. That's the only time. Emergencies, understand that comes up, but for the most part, it's an undisciplined lifestyle that gets us in trouble. And then we're in debt, and the credit cards are like, and I'll get to them another day, okay? But they can be utilized in a great way. Credit cards actually aren't bad if you are disciplined. If you're undisciplined and you just like to spend money, and you want to buy that shirt that you can't afford to buy in cash, but you want it anyway, and then you go out and put it on the credit card, and then they charge you 28%, well, then, you know, you understand where you're at, okay? But you must live 10% below your means. You do. If I were a professional athlete, if I were advising professional athletes, I would tell them to live off of half, if not less than half of what they make, and invest the rest. Probably more, but we'll just start there. If you're a professional athlete, call me. I'm not even kidding. You call me because I'll take care of you. I'll take good care of you. Make sure that money lasts a long time for your kids, for everybody. Okay? But you must live below your means. Below your means. Not at it. Not at it. Not at it. You make $100,000, you spend $100,000. Wrong. You make $100,000, you live off 90. Preferably 80. The guy who told me back in the days when I was listening to all this radio about finance, he said 20%. That's what he said, 20%. So usually living on 80%. I'm being nice. They're being nice and the richest man in Babylon. But you can't be living at 110. You can't be living at 120. And unfortunately, a lot of us, when you're getting into credit card debts and you're doing all these things and you're overextending yourselves fiscally, well, that's because you are living above your means. You're living above your, I don't care what they got. I don't care what kind of car your neighbor has. So what? Who's your neighbor? Or your cousin has, or your whatever. We know the people who show off and try to show their stuff and flaunt their stuff. You know what? I'm not that insecure. I'm not that insecure to need to compete. I'm a grown man. I'm a grown man who is secure just in, you know what? My modest house that I live in, it's okay. But you know what? At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm going to leave something to my kids. I'm training them already. My kids, you go to any one of my daughters and ask them how much they say, they'll say 10% minimum. I've been teaching them that since they were yay big. I've been teaching them that since they were little. You don't just spend all your money, even though they want to. They want to. And I have to help them. No. I know Abuelo, their abuelo, their grandfather, okay? Because my wife is Latina. They get money or something like that. And you know what the first thing they do? Can we go to Target? Can we go to Target? Can we go to Target? And now I would have done that too, and I did do that when I was their age, okay? So I'm not, I understand. So it's me as a father to say, absolutely, yeah, we go. But with that, hand it over. Hand it over. Hand that 10% over right now. In fact, hand 30% over because you don't need it anyways. And then one day later on in life, you'll be happy because daddy was putting together he was putting this money and he was invested in an ETFs for you. And now you're good. Now you're good. All right. So what's the moral of the story today? Live below your means. Live below. Please subscribe to my channel because I'm coming for everybody. Okay. Not in a bad way, but I'm coming because we need to build generational wealth. You got that? We need to build generational wealth. Okay, for your kids. But it takes a level of sacrifice. It takes a level of struggle. You can't just go out and buy everything and then expect to leave your kids anything. You just can't. Or maybe you're just starting out like Jonathan. Jonathan, if he plays his cards right, by 30, that guy's gonna be good. By 30. He's 17. Believe me, how many of you guys, if you had been told some things and knew some things about what you know now, if you had known them when you were 17, where would you be now? Ooh, Lord, I'm kidding. I better stop. Because I'm giving it to them today. All right? So guys, thank you so much for coming to my channel. Believe me, I'm coming with a lot more content, okay? Getting it out there, teaching you guys, inspiring you guys, because we need to do it together. We need to build generational wealth together. All right, I'm trying to leave some to my children when I'm no longer, and God calls me home and says, your time on this earth's done. Okay, fine. But can I break my children up something a little bit to help them out? And then my grandchildren, right? If I teach my children right and give them something, then my grandchildren, okay, just think about that. Okay, but helping my children. So that is the goal of this channel, is to teach personal finance. I'm starting a podcast because I think that I want to get an audience, guys. Please tell your friends about me. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the like button, and please hit the bell so that you'll be able to know when I'm posting videos, because I'm going to try to post videos 1 or 2 per week. I'm really going to try to be consistent with that and make that happen. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you learned something. I hope you're inspired. I hope you start going through your budget and saying, you know what, how can we put aside 10%, 20%? Because in future videos, I'm going to tell you what to do with it. Yeah, I tell you what to do with it in the future. You got that? I teach you what to do with it in the future. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not going to tell you to go buy Amazon. Although Amazon's pretty good. But anyways, I can't do that, right? I can't just, you know what? I can take you to the well. I'm gonna take you to the well. You got to drink though. You got to drink, but I'm taking you to the well. Okay? So thank you so much for this time. Please subscribe, like I said, to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Ciao.